Last week, the Montana Grizzlies had a record-setting day against Weber State, posting 81 points and moving their Big Sky mark to 2-0. Their opponent this week, the Portland State Vikings, are also 2-0 in the Big Sky and hoping to dethrone the defending conference champions. The winner of this game will be in the driver's seat heading into the middle of the conference schedule. It's Montana at Portland State coming up next. It's been a beautiful day in the Rose City of Portland. The fans coming into Civic Stadium, a big turnout expected for one of the biggest games in the Portland State University program's history as the Vikings entertain the second-ranked Grizzlies of the University of Montana. Hi, everybody. I'm Todd Pickett along with Bob Hermes. We're delighted to be able to bring you the game tonight here from Portland. And, Bob, the folks at Portland State put it flat out very simple. This is the biggest game in this team's history since they joined the Big Sky Conference.
I think it is. It's a way for them to make a statement in the 1AA. This is a game, if they win, they're going to be in the driver's seat, actually, for the Big Sky Conference title. They'd like nothing better than a win over the Big Sky defending champions, the University of Montana, tonight.
You see the standings there, and Portland State's only lost to a Division I team in Fresno State. Portland State played very well a week ago, as did Montana. So two good offenses. What's going to be one of the keys for Montana tonight?
I think the key for Montana is to bring heat up the middle against a really good quarterback in Jimmy Blanchard. Blanchard doesn't make any mistakes. He's thrown 115 passes this year, and he only has one interception, and that was in the first game at Fresno State. And, of course, they have some good athletes. So the key is to get pressure on him, and as he goes, I think the Vikings go.
Blanchard led the country in passing efficiency a year ago. He's a very heady quarterback, but the Grizz have a pretty good one as well in Drew Miller.
You know, it's amazing to watch Montana's quarterbacks. They have Dave Dickinson, Brian Ayotte, and now Drew Miller. He looks tremendous. Also doesn't make very many mistakes, throws a really accurate ball with a really tight spiral. It's almost scary how good he could be by the end of the year.
And he is currently leading the NCAA in passing efficiency. Mick Dennehy put it best, two very intelligent quarterbacks, and whichever one makes the best reads at the line of scrimmage and protects the ball, that could be a big key to a victory for one of these two teams tonight. We're expecting a lot of points on the board. It'll be a great matchup between the Grizzlies and the Vikings. Stay tuned. We'll have the starting lineups and the kickoff right after this. It's loose. Portland State maintains possession. A big opportunity there for the Grizz to survive, but it'll be recovered by the Vikings.
Those are the intangibles that you put in your game plan. Obviously, we want to go deep a little bit and then come up the middle when there's pressure. But when you have a ball on the ground off a snap, that's a game breaker, but they were able to recover it.
Heads up play there by the guard, Sagatuatelli, who falls on the ball and keeps the Vikings in contention. In fact, actually picked up a yard on the play. Now they'll split the field a little bit more now. Bryant, the motion man, with Charles. Blanchard throwing back across for his tight end. Carrillo cannot hang on. Wilson there covering.
Nice little play that time. They actually pulled the guard, had a little rollout to the right side, and threw back across the grain, which is fairly effective, but Montana on good coverage. Here you see the guard pull the offside guard, and they roll a little bit to the right side, but watch as he stops, of course, a plan play and throws back. That's a hard play to do, and they almost converted it.
Good job by Wilson, made the throw a little bit tougher, but that motion sells the backers, and if you can freeze them for a second, it often works. Third and goal here, they'll break it open again, looking to throw for Charles toward the corner. He pushes off, makes the catch, and they'll give him the touchdown. Wow, he got away with a huge shove on Calvin Coleman. The Vikings get the score. There's one thing to have a little jousting, but that was a two-handed pusher.
It'll be interesting to watch the replay. The official was in position here, so we'll have to see if he really did push off. But either way, it's going to be a touchdown. Kind of a jump ball, and he comes down with it.
Yeah, I watched a little before that. I've seen guys in the low post who pushed less.
Again, Montana bringing heat on that.
Pulls it in. Charles with the reception. The point after touchdown added by Dan France. And Portland State takes the opening kick, moves down the field, and scores in under 2 minutes. The Vikings lead it 7-0. Dan France set to kick off for Portland State as the Vikings have jumped out to the early lead. Taking towards the near side of the field. This one's going to be taken by Rory Zickman. He's got a wall down the left side. Couple more blocks. He's got the sideline knocked out of bounds in Portland State territory. But the Grizz get a great run back on the kickoff. A lot of whistles, but no flags on the field, so they'll be in PSU territory.
That was a short kick and an excellent return. The wall developed early, and Montana able to bring it back into excellent field position.
We talked a lot about Portland State special teams, but Montana's does a good job as well. Andre Bishop coming up with the tackle for Portland State, but it's at the PSU 42 to get things underway for the Grizz. Drew Miller leading them out onto the field. Makes things a lot nicer for your offensive unit when you get to go short field like that. A great setup by the special teams. That one just off before the end of the 25-second clock. A little square out completed for Jeremy Watkins.
Jeremy, one of the best receivers on the team, has excellent hands, runs very precise patterns, nice catch.
Johansi Humphrey with a great game last week and averaging better than 5 yards per carry. He'll be in the backfield along with Miller. Tanner Hancock back, and he's the guy who could break things wide open. Chase Raynock leading the line as the Grizz come up to the line of scrimmage in a hurry here. Gain of 5 on the first play. A little throw underneath now for Watkins, and he has some room. Bounces off one man, gets cut underneath, and it'll be a short gain as Rashad Floyd comes up from the cornerback position. Another couple steps, Bob, and that one might have gone for a long way.
A little wide receiver screen, meant to go up the middle, but he tried to extend the field to go across.
Aiken, Ransom, Stark, and Kane across the front. There are 6 JC transfers on this defensive unit. Redamosa, one of them at the middle backer, and Floyd, a guy that Nick Donahue wants to take a look at tonight as maybe they can exploit him a little bit. Nice route thrown right there. The squat by Travis Walker will be brought down by Tanner Cole, but that'll be enough for a first down.
Notice Montana's going with a no-huddle offense, something they come in and kind of set to have the defense not have chance to react.
It's the type of thing that wreaks havoc on the guy running tape in the truck, but they're doing a good job getting those replays to you. So far, first down for the Grizz at the 27. Lots of time for Miller. Waits, nice grab there, and another first down inside the 15 as Watkins makes the grab, and he's dropped by Alfred Durr at the cornerback position.
This adjustment by Watkins was beautiful. He came up by the ball a little bit behind him, and he's able to actually adjust to it and make a great jumping catch. What a beautiful catch by that.
A senior from Big Sky High School, leading the Big Sky Conference in receiving yards per game, just under 100 a game, and he gets the first down officially at the 14. Miller under some pressure, scrambles free. He's got the corner. No, he's going to throw to Humphrey inside the 5 to be first and goal for Montana as he's brought down by Rashad Floyd.
Well, we talked about both teams needing to pressure the quarterback. That time, Portland State has a little twist up front. The tackle comes free. Drew ducks, and excellent job scrambling and throws a nice ball for a reception. It's first and goal.
And Bob, this is another one of the nice things that Humphrey can do. He's able to make those little checks and slide out of the backfield. He's a good receiver from the position.
And he's just really fun to watch when he runs the ball from the backfield. He's an excellent running back.
Two in the backfield for Montana on first and goal. It's Humphrey. He'll be stacked up, stays on his feet, goes into the end zone for the touchdown. Second effort, and the Grizz are on the board. They move right down the field as well.
That was a beautiful example of his running style and how good he is. Second and third and fourth effort really got him into the end zone. You can see it here, just straight ahead blocking, kind of zone blocking by the Montana front. He's hit for a loss, scrambles and spins, and takes it into the end zone.
Chris Hepner on to attempt the extra point. Michael Smith to hold. And it's cleanly through. Well, we played 3.5 minutes of football. We've had 2 touchdown drives already. Can you say track meet? We'll be back at Civic Stadium right after this.
Here's another look at that touchdown. Johansi Humphrey on a great run. Hit for a loss, spins, second and third effort into the end zone.
His 5th rushing touchdown of the year ties the game at 7-7. Hepner set to kick off once again.
The thing that's fun about watching him, he's just a sophomore. How good is he going to be in the next 2 years?
You just have to drool and watch that, and that's the nice part, knowing he's going to be around for a while. Floyd taking it once again at the 8. He'll be dropped just outside the 20-yard line. Good job by the special teams. And Bob, when I talked with Mick yesterday, one thing he mentioned is it's very important for that front line to get around the first wave of blockers and stay true in their lanes on the kickoff coverage.
Yeah, Montana's been working on that all year. I know that last week we thought they could do a little bit better. And again, we talked about each team in the Big Sky devoting a full-time coach to work on special teams, and that was good coverage there.
Yeah, Portland State averages as a team better than 23.5 yards a return, so it's a very valuable weapon for them. Floyd split outside of Bryant. Dunn the single setback, and you see the tight end there. Hester, who's generally a blocking tight end, flexed off the line. Dunn, that little stutter step is one of his good moves, Bob. He couldn't find a seam that time. He got a couple.
He's another excellent running back. We're going to see one on each side of the ball for both teams, and he, a lot like Humphrey, is very quick and a bit of a slasher. You'll see him, I'm sure, break some big plays today.
Justin Klein led the tacklers that time. Gain of about 1.5 yards on the play for Chip Dunn. Already in 4 games, over 540 yards rushing for this young man, and he, along with Roberts at Sac State, 2 of the best in the conference a year ago. Little play action for Dunn. Blanchard gets away from a leg tackle, finds the receiver again. That one going to Floyd, or rather to Cheo Angel. And this is the guy that Mick Dennehy feared most of all.
Well, it's sort of everything we talked about at the beginning. Montana bringing some heat, but Jimmy Blanchard, being as good as an athlete as he is, he's able to scramble forward, keep his balance somehow. I'm not sure how he did that, and then throw a nice ball for a completion. And the receiver did an excellent job coming back to the ball for the reception.
Beautiful spiral on that ball by Blanchard. Angel's a young man who started at the University of Pittsburgh And Mick Dennehy thinks he's got tremendous potential, a dangerous weapon. And he also thinks the same of Charles, the other wide out. Little inside counter, and it breaks open for Bryant. Runs into his own man. Wide receivers are supposed to block the defenders, but that time Charles slowed him down, and Bryant comes down outside the 30-yard line. Huntsberger leading the tacklers, but a nice play for the Vikings.
I love this look. He kind of reverse pivot and an inside handoff. You don't see that much. I think it fooled Montana up front quite a bit. Even the linebackers were stepping the other side, and he's able to break off a big play.
Of course, Bob Cole, the former Portland State offensive coordinator who's with the Grizz, known for his play calling, but Tim Walsh and his staff are coming up with some imaginative calls here in the first quarter of play as well.
I talked to Bob a little bit about the revenge factor and coming back here to play, and he downplayed it a little bit. He just said he was glad to come back and play a game and wants to get out of here when it's over.
Robert Prince, the offensive coordinator now for the Vikings, as they go to the stack set, fake it that direction. Blanchard under trouble, nearly intercepted, as he really was just throwing that one to a safe spot and nearly had Steinau pick it off anyway.
As you mentioned, they had three receivers at the top of the screen stacked up kind of in a little Y formation. He makes a pump fake over that way and looks for somebody to release underneath, but nobody's open.
They'll run a variety of different routes out of that stack or bunch look, and when you've got guys running little picks for one another in there, it can be dangerous. They go to three wides again here on second down. Jacobowski, the fullback, in the lineup as well. Dunn with a big hole on the left side. He'll take it inside the 25-yard line before anybody even gets close to him.
Well, that's an old variation of the sprint draw, or a little draw play up the middle. Quarterback drops back as if he's going to throw the ball. The running back just waits for him, and then he hands it off. And a lead blocker, that fullback, is doing an excellent job for the Vikings, number 35.
See how far Jacobowski is into the backers and secondary as a blocker before he's touched. Jollymore making the tackle as they'll bring the chains in to measure. And there again a look at Charles Dunn, a junior from John Muir High School in Pasadena, California.
Also, in talking with the Montana defensive coaches, Craig Paulson, they mentioned that what a great fullback Portland State has. They're going to be just short of the first down as they measure, but they said a lot of times they'd look at film and think it was a pulling guard, and it's the fullback.
Yeah, Jacobowski doesn't carry the ball often, doesn't catch the ball often, but he's a good lead blocker for the Vikings when they go to that look. So statistically, give him a gain of 9 as they reset the chains, and it'll make it 3rd and short for the Vikings. We've actually had a chance to collect our breath for a moment. We've run a little bit of clock time after those first two drives, but the defenses haven't come up with many stops yet. Blanchard just dives off the left side with those wide gaps. That's an easy one for the quarterback, Bob.
I have a feeling that was a little bit of an audible on his part. I think he saw an opening there and he just took it. And that, of course, is his read and his decision. So probably just a little tap on the center and let him know I'm going to follow you up the field.
Took it all the way down to the 20. And a first down for the Vikings there. You see Blanchard looking over to get the signals from the sideline.
Again, a real good field general. Coach on the field, doesn't make many mistakes, and he's got a great career here at Portland State.
So just outside the red zone. Again, Jacobowski in with Dunn in the backfield as Angel goes in motion. They'll throw underneath for him. Little wide receiver screen again. He'll take it inside the 10 and a first down for Portland State. Chased out of bounds over there by Miller, and he had some help on that one by Steinau.
Another beautiful play, a little play action away again to get the motion going the other side. You see him turn his head and then just fire back as the receiver comes back, picks it up, and he's got a wall of blockers out front. Nice play.
You saw right there, Bob, he has to run that pattern strong or else it doesn't work at all. He made a nice pullback to create the opening.
First down now.
First and goal for Portland State. This Viking team puts points on the board as well. They had 52 last week against Idaho State, and they took their foot off the throttle in Pocatello. Blanchard making some audibles, and you can see the Grizz moving around prior to the snap, something they want to do. Blitz, he gets away with it, batted down and incomplete. Nice coverage. Charles was the intended receiver, and Damon Parker batted it away as Blanchard had to get rid of that one.
Well, again, some heat up front, but Parker did an excellent job coming over the top and knocking the ball down.
Grizz run a little stunt, and he's wide open here. Watch.
Almost a sack for Montana, but Blanchard again with the athleticism he has, able to throw the ball away.
Jacob Yarrow putting the pressure on that time. That's one thing we'll watch with Montana tonight as well. They want to give Blanchard a look when he comes to the line of scrimmage, then flip around while he's calling. He's trying to throw that corner route again for Charles, and he overthrows it incomplete. I'll tell you, there's a lot of jousting going on one-on-one out there every time that they line Charles up with Calvin Coleman.
I think the wide receiver wasn't quite on the same page with Blanchard that time as he threw the ball up, and he was not running the same route.
So it'll bring up a 3rd and goal now for Portland State. Grizz go to a little bit more of a nickel look now as they pull Jollymore out, add another defensive back, bringing Miller back in as well. From the 9-yard line. Trey Young also in the backfield for the Grizz. Time for Blanchard. Steps up and gets sacked. Well, he felt the man coming on his back, but there was enough containment to bring him down.
And there is a flag on the play, so this one might be coming back.
At the line of scrimmage, Casey Robinson tracked him down in the backfield, and the call is against against Portland State. The Vikings were all signaling Montana's way, but the call, well, now they go back and talk to Jim Blanchard, so let's check and see.
A procedure penalty here.
Offside, defense, 5-yard penalty from the previous puck.
Okay,
Repeat
John
third
Maloney
down.
had pointed towards the Portland State side, so it is against Montana, and it'll give Portland State another chance here in the goal-to-go situation. Mick Dennehy has to be a little upset. That's 2 defensive offsides now here in the first quarter.
Well, they would have probably loved to just had a field goal opportunity out of this, and now they give him another shot.
4 wide receivers in from the 4-yard line. Dunn runs it, big hole, touchdown. They spread everybody out. Dunn could have gone to Tigard before anybody had gotten to him.
Good looking running back out, as Montana has, but he just really filled the hole quickly, attacked the seam that was there, and scored pretty easily. Watch here as it just again straight ahead blocking, nothing too tricky by the lineman. Picks up the outside backer, middle backer, and he's in.
And you can see how they were able to double team Matt Steinau before anybody else even got there. France on for the extra point. Brandon Reynolds is the holder. And Portland State is 2 for 2. The Vikings take it right down the field once again. Dunn with the rushing touchdown. That is his 6th of the year, and Portland State is back on top. Well, Tim Walsh, the Portland State coach, said earlier in the week, we think we can move the ball on Montana, and so far his offense has done just that. 2 drives, 2 scores, and the Vikings are back on top. France set to kick off. Sends this one a little bit deeper this time. Once again, it's going to be Zickman taking it, and he's got a good wall once again. Met solidly outside the 25-yard line. It's a one-on-one tackle. Otherwise, if he gets around there, he's gone. Well, we actually had a drive that went over 5 minutes that time, Bob.
Yeah, a little running, and I really like their play selection in the last drive. The quarterback with excellent fakes and good offensive coordination by the Vikings.
Well, correct that. It actually was about a 3-minute drive. Now that I go back and do the math, and that one nearly intercepted as Miller, we talked about making heads-up decisions. That one wasn't a good one, and Monty Button almost made him pay.
And he'd have been off to the races if he'd have caught the ball. I don't believe anybody would have been able to catch him.
I think that's what he was thinking.
He saw the goal line instead of the ball. Yeah, he knew it, too.
Button, the weak side linebacker, a junior from Coos Bay, Oregon, and in one of the top high school programs in this state, Marshfield High. He sprints off now, and we've got a whistle, and we should have a flag called because they broke the huddle with 12 men. Timeout is going to be charged to Portland State instead. And the Vikings will use a timeout here. They did have 12, and Button went sprinting off the field, but they burned the timeout to avoid the possible flag there. And you see Tim Walsh down talking to the members of his defensive unit, trying to get them all on the same page. Well, we mentioned it earlier that Bob Cole back in some familiar haunts here.
He had to have a little bit of tingle, I'm sure, as he walked in the stadium to return after coaching here for a number of years, 5 years.
Wonder if he went to the wrong dressing room at all.
Oh, I'm sure he's excited to be here and is working as hard as he can right now to get a Grizzly victory. Very impressed with him, meeting with him and visiting with him a little bit about his philosophy and how he likes to call plays. And Montana definitely has a good offensive coordinator in Bob Cole.
The second of the 4 assistants you see up there in the box. And as he gets set to try to get Montana back down the field once again. Grizzlies make a little shift here as well with some substitutions. Dallas Neal comes in at the tight end spot as players scramble in just prior to that play. Miller taking some time with the check. Humphrey. Oh, nice use of the blockers and cuts back one more time. He'll take it over the 40 before he's dropped. You'd mentioned it before, though. He's electrifying when he gets his hands on the ball.
He really is. We've got a flag down, but...
and it's down in the backfield. There was some jousting between a couple of players away from the ball at the end of the play.
Might be a personal foul. We'll see what they talk about here as the back judge comes over and talks a little bit to our referee.
Had a wide receiver down the field and a little bump and extra bumps from the two.
Personal foul against the Vikings. That's a pretty big penalty.
Now we're going to go both ways, though. Here, I think it's the old. We'll just
offset.
tell you both.
Shake your finger and play it again.
Knock it off and behave.
But a little bit watching this replay on his run, these are things you can't coach. Just that instinct he has to get in the hole, follow his blocker, and then make some big plays here. Look at that. Oh, what a great move to cut back.
Rode right on the hip of Thatcher Saleh and went from there. So Humphrey taking it over the 40-yard line and a first down for Montana. Little bunch look by the Grizz now as well at the top of your screen. Walker the motion man. Some pressure on Miller. Deflected and incomplete. Tried to find Hancock that time, and the guy that they'd hoped to line up against, Floyd, was in there on the coverage as well for Portland State.
And the Vikings that time brought a linebacker inside to try to get Drew off balance, and he had to throw maybe just a little early. But the Vikings definitely bringing pressure inside.
Tanner Hancock averaging better than 18 yards a catch. Could not get walled off against Floyd that time. Saw the early numbers there for Drew Miller as he faces a second down now at the 41. Pressure on the outside, run blitz, and Humphrey does a nice job getting back to the line of scrimmage as the Vikings really shot the gap that time, brought Tanner Cole, a reserve strong safety, in.
Yeah, nearly everybody on the team was in on that play. They brought the kitchen sink, so to speak, and there's really nowhere to go, no matter how good a running back you are.
Humphrey getting a little bit of yardage there, but they'll call it about a foot on the gain if you want to be real picky about it, and that's about as good as it gets. Hancock coming back in as the Grizzlies will need to get it to the Portland State 49-yard line. Still better than 6 minutes to go in this first quarter. And timeout called by Miller. Portland State coaches over, waving their hands, trying to get their players and their crowd fired up here as they had a large crowd come in, and Drew stepped up, didn't like what he saw.
They're excited to get Montana into a 3rd down and 10. Of course, over the last several years, that's just pretty routine as far as picking that up with their pass offense being so effective. But Drew did want a timeout. Come over and talk about it a little bit.
Tell you what, I was really surprised when I got the statistics coming into the game. You expect quarterbacks to have good numbers, but this young man is completing 71% of his passes so far this season. That's just an amazing rate.
And again, he didn't play the second half last week in an 81-point scoring frenzy in Missoula. Yeah, he does an excellent job.
Yeah, listen to these numbers, folks. How would you like it if your quarterback went 23 of 30 for 377 yards and 4 touchdowns? Pretty good game.
In the first
Maybe
half.
Pretty decent 2-week period. No, that was the first half last week for Drew Miller in the game against Weber State, a game in which the Grizzlies very quickly say, everything we did went right last Saturday. and everything did click for Montana.
Well, good test here, 3rd and 10. They've practiced for this play as far as this situation.
And a 4 wide out look once again. Now some shotgun. With time throwing, Watkins, nice break on the ball, scrambles, he'll get the first down. Poor coverage defensively by Portland State that time. All they had to do even was let him make the catch, and they could have wrapped him up short. But a bad cover and then a missed tackle, and Jeremy Watkins picks up a big first down.
Give Jeremy a gold star here because, as you said, the nice catch, but look what he does afterwards. And this is what Montana receivers do so well, make the first guy miss, and they're able to pick up 6, 7, 8 yards after the catch.
Michael Duncan with the bad coverage, Alfred Durr trying to wrap him up and couldn't either, and Watkins picks up the first down.
That was a big play for Montana. 3rd and 10, crowd's getting into it. The opposing team has got some momentum, and then you break it on one play.
Got about a yard beyond what he needed to on that one. Vikings backpedaling now before the snap. Miller looking long, deep over the middle, double coverage and incomplete. Tried to find Hancock, and playing back deep that time was Floyd, the corner, and Miller had to kind of force that one down the seam a little bit.
Well, Hancock's a great receiver, too. We haven't seen him catch a lot of balls. He was injured there for a game or two, and I look for him to have a good night. But looks like Drew just wanted to get rid of it, throw it deep, sometimes an offense will do that to stretch out the defense a little bit, get him to respect the long ball, and there's nothing wrong with that play on first down.
This is the guy that they want to test early and try to get him to back off a little bit, and that's one of the reasons why. And a flag thrown apparently on the play. We just got a signal of a penalty against the Grizzlies. I did not see the hanky come down originally.
I believe it's holding, and that'll back him up and put him in a bit of a hole.
Personal foul against Montana.
It doesn't look like Mick understands that call completely, but that'll drive him back.
It was during the play, so it remains first down. It was not a dead ball personal foul, so that's one small consolation to that one, but it's a major penalty and takes it back all the way to the Grizzly 37-yard line.
This is the kind of play you want to get some of it back. Don't go for all of it here on first down. Try to get 5, 6, 7, 8 yards of it back and then work from there.
Hancock, the motion man. Miller with time once again, looking for Watkins open. Makes the catch. Can he outrun them? Yes, he will. Touchdown, Montana.
Shows you what I know. I think I'll get 7 or 8, and they go for 55 and score.
Well, they got 6 back. It's just 6 points instead of 6 yards. 63 yards on the catch for Jeremy Watkins.
And that's a simple post pattern and a beautiful throw. We talked about it at the top. Set in the pocket, let it go, and you probably didn't even see the receiver fully, and what a great catch by Jeremy.
Watkins with his 4th touchdown reception of the year. He now moves into the number 10 spot in career receiving yards at Montana, going by Matt Clark. And a big touch there, 63. Hepner on once again. Chris is 18 of 22 in point after attempts so far this season. The hold from Smith. And we are knotted once again. So Montana with the big scoring play. It's 14-14, and that clock still says we have better than 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. Let's watch that pass again.
Another beautiful look at this play. Straight drop, throw it up, post pattern, and over the shoulder. What a great catch. What a beautiful throw. 63-yard pass.
For Drew Miller, his 10th touchdown pass of the year to tie the ball game up once again. Montana coming into this game has won the last 4 from Portland State. In 1977, the Grizz dominated the Vikings as they jumped out to a 24-0 halftime lead. It was highlighted by this school record 93-yard touchdown pass from Brian Ayotte to Jimmy Ferris, who's still in the lineup for the Grizz tonight, as Montana went on to the victory over Portland State 37-7 in the matchup here at Civic Stadium 2 years ago. All time, this series stands 17-9 in favor of Montana, and they have an 8-6 mark against the Vikings here in Portland.
It's going to be fun to see the first half stats and see how many yards both these offenses are going to be able to chalk up in just a half a play.
We understand the PA announcer has just asked for 14 more people to volunteer to join the stat crew so they can stay on top of things here in the first half. They're going to have the busiest. They're going to have calluses on their fingers by halftime. Hepner set to kick off once again, and again they are sending it right towards Rashad Floyd, trying to pin him into the corner. Nowhere to go this time. A wall of white will chase him out of bounds around the 25-yard line, and a late flag thrown over there on the far sideline, right into the pile.
Mr. Maloney throwing that one from his referee position that time.
And he's got a push in the back against Portland State.
That'll put the Vikings in a bit of a hole they didn't need to get into.
Sends up a roar from the Grizzly fans who are here over across the way, and a great contingent of Montana supporters here.
Out of the foul, first down.
Well, we got most of it.
Yeah, and you can see
There
it
it
right
is,
here
right
at the
there.
end, number 39 coming in.
George Jordan, a reserve linebacker, called for that one.
Pretty needless, actually, because it was after the play and didn't really result in any good news for the Vikings, even on the blocking standpoint.
Half the distance, and believe it or not, this is the deepest anybody's been to start a drive so far in the game, from the 14-yard line for the Vikings. Dunn, chased down by Kelly Bryant, did a nice job of sliding down the line to pull him down after 3.
Nice play fake by Blanchard, able to fake like he had the ball, and Dunn took it and ran right up there, picked up 3 yards.
I asked Mick Bryant, I said, you know, your defense is good, but who's been great so far this year? And he said Kelly Bryant. He's playing phenomenal football this season.
Real aggressive up front, real strong, and does an excellent job.
Yeah, and what can you say when your defensive tackle is your 8th leading scorer on the team with a touchdown and 2 safeties so far? Blanchard looking long for Charles, makes the grab. Nice set of hands by that young man inside the 35, and Jason Miller finally brings him down. Tall, lanky guy, Bob.
Well, it's the 4th long ball, and you can see it's on Portland's mind to go deep, and they were deep in their own territory, a place where you wouldn't really think they're going to go that deep and set up in the pocket to take a loss, but a great catch.
Charles listed at 6'4", 196, but you see he gets the seam and then a nice set of hands to pull that one in. A 49-yard gain on that play as Miller got some help from Coleman to bring Charles down.
What a beautiful catch that was, over the top and reached up, able to have enough touch to bring the ball in and get the completion.
Blanchard now just 5 of 11, but when he's completed them, they've been significant passes done up the middle. Gets grabbed around the ankles that time to prevent him from getting any further. Just when it looked as though he was going to squirt free, he got hauled down. And Justin Klein was the guy who got him.
And he was able to pick up 4 yards. So anytime you take a play that should have got you maybe 1 and make it into 4, that sure helps your offense.
Blanchard now 5 out of 11, 147 yards passing and a touchdown, and we're still in the first quarter. And Miller's numbers are pretty good too, 7 of 9 for 113. So we're 250, 300 yards passing so far. Little inside counter once again, and a big hole on the right side for Bryant. He's got speed. He's inside the 10 before he's shoved out of bounds by Miller.
Well, again, there's a good call by your offensive coordinator, because it worked before about a series and a half ago, and they come back and do it again. Reverse pivot, inside handoff, they pull a guard, and a nice block. Excellent run, outside, a lot of room. First down.
Bryant had carried the ball 8 times prior to tonight's game. That's his second big run. That one goes for 27. His first 8 for the year had only gone for 22 yards, so it's been a very good play for the Vikings so far tonight. The slot man picking up another 1st and goal situation for PSU. 4 wideouts again for the Vikings. Dunn, little stutter step inside the 5. Klein there, Jollymore there as well, along with Huntsberger. But he'll get good yardage and take it down to about the 3.
Huntsberger and Jollymore have had great seasons as well this year. You mentioned Brian up front, but those 2 individuals do an excellent job as well.
Grizz without a couple of defensive tackles tonight. DJ Colder and Jeremiah Butenshane both out with ankle injuries. You can see the ball just inside the 3 now for PSU. Two tight end look this time for the Vikings with Dunn. Grizz trying to slant. Dunn finds a hole, and he's in for his 2nd rushing touchdown.
Looked real similar to the last rushing touchdown he had, Todd. Little handoff, straight ahead blocking. Excellent run. Wide open up the middle.
I don't know if I've ever seen so much offensive football in a quarter of a game in my life between these two.
Again, no trickery up front, just straight ahead. Actually, like the Montana defender had a shot at him and just over pursued a little bit. He cut back underneath the tackle.
Done with his second rushing touchdown. Dan France on again for the point after touchdown. 5 drives, 5 touchdowns between the two teams. 3:29 to play in the quarter, and it's 21-14 Portland State.
Straight ahead bull rush. Nice job getting into the end zone, and that's what counts.
7th rushing touchdown for Dunn, who averages 136 yards rushing a game so far this year for PSU. For the latest in Grizzly football, be sure to tune in to the McDennehy Show. It's Sunday nights at 10:30. That's immediately following your late local news on KPAX Missoula, KAJ Kalispell, KXLF in Butte, Bozeman, and Helena, and KRTV in Great Falls. We're going to call it the McDennehy first quarter show, I think. You won't have enough time to cut any other highlights, Bob.
A lot of scoring, and everybody's just reloading the guns.
That one, an 86-yard drive. Oh, that one lasted a whole 2.5 minutes that time, by the way, folks. And they finally wore France out so much they had to bring a different kicker in this time. Zickman bobbles it, picks it back up again. And he's got some space, breaking a couple tackles, finally hauled down at the 40-yard line, and another fine run back.
You wonder why coaches get ulcers, or special team coaches for that matter, but I'm sure all the coaches on the Grizzlies sideline had a little air in their throat on this one. When he drops the ball, it has to hopefully pick it up and stay on the run and get actually a pretty good run back.
The redshirt freshman from Harlowtown, he'd run 2 kicks back before tonight and was averaging 25 a return. He takes this one 36 yards. He's had a couple of dandy ones so far.
But that's one thing you never practice, is let's drop it, pick it up, and then try it.
It's amazing, though, how often that little timing thing will work on a return. It's just seems to boggle the mind and find a seam so often. Ferris in the lineup at the bottom of your screen now. He comes in motion to your picture. Miller nearly raked from behind, now finds Ferris, 45 and out near midfield. Good open field tackle for Portland State by Tanner Cole, reserve strong safety.
Nice work that time again by Miller. He's pressured, nobody open initially, steps up into the pocket and just kind of out on the wing where the safety valve is, picks up nice yardage.
Chris Kane tried to reach around and paw the ball loose from him, but was unsuccessful. Now, second and very short here. Do you take a chance to stretch him and go a little bit? They've got Hancock one-on-one at the bottom of your screen. We'll see what they do on this second and short. Little toss for Humphrey. First down as he's yanked after about 3-4 yards. Good stop that time by Brad Ransom, the left tackle. Some help from Tino Redamosa at the middle linebacker spot. And Rochelle Aiken at the left end, but it'll be a first down Montana. And McDennehy says, no, we're just going to get the chains moved here.
You see, I believe it's Dallas Neal kind of slide into motion there and lead him into the hole. Does a nice job to pick up the first down.
It's the thing you love about Johansi, though. He sets his blockers up well and is finding the holes. From the PSU 47-yard line. A little pressure from the backs. Miller trying to arch this one a little bit and overthrows it. Had Watkins one-on-one that time, and again, Floyd was the cover man as the Vikings started to send some of that central pressure you've talked about, Bob.
They brought 7 people that time, and Drew really had no other choice but to try to go for the wheel or the fly pattern down the right sideline. He made the right read, but the pressure, because if he wouldn't have thrown it, he'd have got a sack.
Vikings make some substitutions in their secondary as they're rotating guys in. And a 2nd and 10 situation now for Montana. Ferris with a little bit of motion. Play action and some time again for Miller. Throws, looked like some And they will get the flag as Ferris was run into. I was going to say it looked like some interference. Tyler Kemmis called with that one.
Yeah, that was an easy call, really, for the officials. It was blatant. Again, nice job, Miller, going away from his right arm throw, sets his hips, throws the ball, and then just here's the contact. It's really all over him.
Not a toughie that time. Young man who's from nearby Oregon City, then went to Foothill Junior College and will get the call.
Pass interference.
Well, the fans don't like it here, but it was real obvious.
John Maloney's mic going in and out a little bit, but they will spot the ball at the Portland State 38-yard line. Tim Walsh having a little chat that time with the field judge, Mike Nelson, on that one, but there are some that are close, but that one wasn't. And Miller, again, from a percentage standpoint, that's about 73%, 122 yards, so he's averaging better than 15 a completion.
Montana's going to have to hustle to get this play off. The play clock's down to 6 seconds.
They'd make a nice sprint to the line anyway. Portland State trying to scramble as well. And timeout called. Drew had to burn it.
He really did, and just the play came in a little bit late. He really made a good decision to not get the 5-yard penalty because he saw the play clock was at 1 second.
The Grizz have used 2 of their first half timeouts. We still have 2:01 to play here in the first quarter. Portland State leading Montana by a score of 21-14. Later on in tonight's game, we'll be sure to introduce you to the punters for these respective teams, since you may not see them.
I don't think we haven't had a punt yet.
No, we haven't. From either side.
Well, Dallas Neal's only punted five times in 3 games. He's averaging 44 yards a punt, but which is second in the Big Sky, but he hasn't had to do much of it.
And a reminder, following tonight's game, you can stay tuned for your late, and I repeat, late local news. It'll be followed by Martial Law with Sammo Hung and Arsenio Hall, and Walker, Texas Ranger. That'll be in Missoula, Kalispell, Great Falls, Butte, Bozeman, and Helena. Or, as it says, except in Billings. That may become Sleepwalker, Texas Ranger, before we get it on the air tonight.
Well, we wanted to see a lot of points, and it certainly lived to that building. I know Craig Paulson, the defensive coordinator for Montana, was very complimentary of Portland State's offense, and now I can see firsthand exactly what he was talking about.
Have you ever seen anything like this, though?
No, they're really 2 great teams going at it.
Vikings again trying to show some stunts. Miller trying to check out. He's going to run out of time here. Got the snap away with 1 on the clock. Throws for Walker. Makes the grab. Ball comes loose. It goes what now? The field judge waves it off. Says no, incomplete. As he came in, Walker appeared to have made the catch. But you can see the field judge there making the call saying no, it is incomplete. Coverage on the play by Michael Duncan. The Grizz think they got one taken away from them there.
Well, there won't be any replay, of course, without that in the college game, but let's see here on the replay if it was. A lot of pressure up front again. Drew had to get rid of it. Made the right read. That looks like a catch.
Oh, yeah, he's down, and oh, boy. Yep, knees were down.
Looks like it might have been a catch, but second down.
What's that first rule of Maddenism? The ground can't cause a fumble.
That's right.
So it'll go as an incomplete when it looked as though the senior had the catch. To the sideline, and another nice grab by Watkins. He gets thrown out of bounds by Alfred Duer.
Well, Watkins has been the money receiver tonight. Drew, again, with some pressure, did the right thing, stayed in the pocket, threw a nice pass, a little out pattern. And Jeremy, again, with a very nice catch. Catch the ball away from his body and put it away.
And he gets right beyond the marker. There's the mark of an experienced receiver. Cuts it back well and gets beyond the chain.
He's having a great day for Montana so far. 104 yards.
6
receiving.
grabs, right? 6 catches for 104, including that 63-yard touchdown earlier. From the PSU 27, Miller again with time. Watkins is open in the end zone. He couldn't hang on. Oh, he beat Alfred Durr that time on a little out and up and couldn't get the ball tucked away.
Well, he tried to stay skinny and get some separation just as the ball's delivered. Again, the Vikings with a lot of heat up front, sending at least 2 backers inside. A nice read by Mr. Miller. Nice throw, and really that was a touchdown.
Oh, my. Durr bit on the pump fake that time, and Jeremy thought he had TD catch number 2 for the night. That's all right. It lets us use a little more time here in the first quarter. 1:22 to play in the quarter, and a second down now for the Grizz. Pressure on Miller, nearly batted away from him, underneath to Humphrey with some room. Breaks around to the 15, knocked out of bounds inside at about the 13-yard line. Tyler Kemmis with the stop. We have a flag in the Montana backfield.
That's in the area of, looks like it might be a late hit on the quarterback, and this will add insult to injury for the Vikings as the completion was almost enough for a first down.
Yes. A nice run by Humphrey after the grab. And we'll get the call once again from John Maloney.
Roughing the passer.
Roughing the passer is the call. So, again, Miller, this is what great feet he has. Pressure all over, and he somehow gets rid of the ball for a completion. There isn't very many quarterbacks that can do what he just did.
Looks as though Brad Ransom was there, but I'd have to think somebody else besides Ransom hit Miller late because Ransom was only about a step away on the rush. You can see with the spot that the ball gets moved all the way down to the 7, and it's a 1st and goal for the Grizz from there. Watkins slotted inside Ferris. That's Neal on the left wing at the bottom of your screen. Humphrey got around the block from Neal, in for the touchdown.
Well, they like to lead with the tight end there on that left side, and what a great run. He was able to actually throttle down just a little bit and walk into the end zone at the end of the play. Dallas Neal led him through with a great block. Neal's in a slot position there at the tight end. You can see his defender on the ground, number 43 for the Vikings, with a great block.
Second rushing touchdown of the game, 6th of the year for the sophomore from Eagle River, Alaska. And Hepner is on once again. Smith on to hold. Yarrow the snapper. And another successful drive for Montana. We're all locked up once again. 21-21 with 1:10 to play in the first quarter.
Little zone blocking, nice block as we said, and he's in the corner of the end zone for the touchdown.
Tell you what, the guy who brings the scoring summaries into the booth, he was 210 when the night started. He's already down to 185. 7-yard touchdown run for Johansi Humphrey. There we go, Bob. Look at the total offense numbers here in the first quarter so far.
UM 173, Portland State 226.
That's 400 yards of total offense, and we're not done with the first 15 minutes of play yet, folks. Six possessions, 6 touchdowns, and I have never seen anything like it.
Well, and the other thing is really neither team has flinched. A lot of times a team will score, the momentum will switch, a team gets down, but that has not been the case. Of course, that's indicative of 2 teams that are very confident in their offenses and proud of their programs, and both of these teams certainly are.
Hepner set to kick off. Vikings flip their receivers around, and they finally kick it to the other receiver back, and that's Andre Bishop. Bishop pushed out of bounds just short of the 30-yard line. Courtney Johnson running him out of bounds over there.
Bishop with excellent speed on the run back. Definitely has some wheels and gets outside.
If he averages about 23 a return, so it doesn't matter. Either one of those guys is dangerous. Floyd at 23.4 and Bishop at 23.1. A look again at Tim Walsh. In his 7th year as the head coach at Portland State, last week's victory for him over Idaho State moved him past former UM coach Don Reed and into the number 3 spot in career victories here at PSU, behind Pokey Allen and Mouse Davis. Blanchard with a quick out and completes another one. It'll be short of a first down as Wilson comes over in a hurry to wrap up Washwante Bryant.
Also on that last picture of the coaching staff, you saw Jeff Hoover, and something needs to be said about what a nice job he's done with that offensive line at Portland State. And Coach Mick Dennehy pointed that out when I spoke with him earlier in the week. They're doing a nice job protecting Blanchard, and pretty young offensive line as well.
7 more yards on that completion. Jacobowski, the lead blocker, in at the fullback spot. And they'll throw. One-on-one, Charles locked up. Makes a great catch at the 41-yard line of Montana. You really couldn't ask for much more coverage than Damon Parker provided, but Charles walled him off and then spun away at the last minute to make a great grab. What a set of hands this guy has, huh?
And he's tall, and we saw a great catch earlier, and you can see him get up. I know, again, the UM coaches are concerned about what a nice receiver he is. They dub him an NFL prospect. You can see why.
Yep. That one at the 41-yard line. 22 yards on the play. Get you caught up on some other scores around the Big Sky and around the country tonight as well. Some interesting action going on. From the Grizz 41-yard line. Blanchard with time, looking down the middle for Charles. In stride, couldn't hang on. Portland State fans wanted a flag that time, but Jason Miller just got enough on it to separate Charles from the ball.
You know, it seems like every possession Portland is going deep, if not once, maybe twice a possession. And another post pattern down the middle. Nice throw, good coverage. And he actually could have had that one.
And let's give some credit. It was Coleman who made the break up there. My mistake. Calvin Coleman on the coverage. Miller coming over to help. Dunn getting repositioned again by Blanchard. Inside a handoff, and he'll take it down close to the 35 before he's swarmed under. Trey Young in at the free safety spot, leading the tacklers that time, along with some help from Wilson. Now, for some reason, the officials were repositioning the ball. They've stopped the clock here, and it's a third down. The clock operators still haven't cranked it up, so you can see the referees waving wildly. The Civic Stadium clock crew has not figured it out, so they finally said, that's it. It's the end of the quarter. We may have a clock malfunction, and little wonder. I think some of the circuits may be burnt out after the first 15 minutes.
I think the clock operator is so used to keeping the clock off because of the passing offense.
6 possessions in the first quarter, each resulted in a touchdown, and at the end of one, we're all tied at 21.